It looked like a perfectly normal job interview. A candidate fluent in English, sharp and confident, ready to negotiate salary. Nothing unusual at all. His name on the resume? Gary Lee. He'd applied to a US cryptocurrency platform. His portfolio looked real. His references checked out. The hiring manager almost moved forward, but something felt slightly off. So they called a journalist from Radio Free Asia to sit in. The interview started smoothly. Gary introduced himself, talked about his skills, even pushed back on the salary offer. He seemed polished and professional. Have you ever been in a job interview where something just felt wrong? You couldn't pin it down, but something was off? The RFA reporter, Park Jae-woo, watched quietly. Gary answered every technical question. His English was fluent. His confidence seemed completely genuine. Then, mid-interview, Park leaned forward. He said just one word, a single, distinctly North Korean expression. Dongmu. Comrade. The screen went dark. Gary Lee vanished. Interview over. No goodbye, no explanation. Just gone. In an instant, with no warning at all. Think about that for a second. One word. One single word blew his cover. What does that tell you about who he really was? That moment, like that vanishing act, is the story we're telling today. Because Gary Lee is not just one person. He's a strategy. Before we go further, actually, when you hear North Korean hacker, what do you picture? A dark room, black screens, malware, ransomware? That image is real, but it's only part of the picture. North Korea has a second weapon, and it wears a button-down shirt. North Korea operates under some of the toughest international sanctions on Earth. Normal trade is blocked. Global banking is cut off, so they got creative. If you were cut off from the world's financial system completely, how would you generate income? Seriously, what would you do? Here's what North Korea did. They trained thousands of highly skilled IT workers, developers, coders, engineers, and sent them out into the world. Not with weapons, with laptops, with LinkedIn profiles, with fabricated resumes, and with one mission: earn foreign currency for the regime. The U.S. government's official advisory states clearly, these workers remit their earnings back to Pyongyang. The money funds WMD and ballistic missile programs. Let me put that plainly. That developer you just hired to build your app? His paycheck might be funding a nuclear weapon. Right now, I know that sounds extreme. But this isn't a theory. It's documented by the State Department, Treasury, and FBI. In writing, according to the DOJ, individual workers can earn up to $300,000 a year. Teams can collectively pull in over $3 million annually. Serious money. And North Korea takes most of it, sometimes up to 90%. The worker gets just enough to survive. The regime keeps the rest. These aren't freelancers chasing the American dream. They're part of a state-run revenue machine, and your company could be their next client. So how does it actually work? Let's walk through it, step by step, because the operational details are almost unbelievably thorough. Step 1, build a fake identity, a fake name, a fake driver's license, a fake social security number, and a fabricated work history. They don't just make it up. They steal real identities from real Americans. They buy stolen SSNs on underground markets. Real people get tax bills. Imagine getting an IRS notice for income you never earned from a company you've never heard of. That's happened to real people. Dozens of them. Step 2, build the profile. LinkedIn, GitHub, a portfolio website, testimonials often lifted from real engineers' public profiles. Everything looked legitimate. Microsoft found that North Korean workers use AI tools to enhance profile photos, making them look more professional, more Western, and more trustworthy. Step 3, apply everywhere. They flood platforms like Upwork, Freelancer, and Fiverr. They target company job boards. They approach recruiters directly on LinkedIn. Here's an uncomfortable question. How carefully does your company verify remote contractors? A background check? A video call? Is that really enough? Step 4, pass the interview. They use 30-page playbooks found by Palo Alto researchers, coaching them on exactly how to describe good corporate culture. One script told workers to explain they were in Singapore temporarily, working remotely and returning to Los Angeles in 3 months. Every detail scripted. Step 5. Get hired. The company ships a laptop to a U.S. address. That address belongs to a facilitator, someone paid to receive the equipment. That facilitator, sometimes a U.S. citizen, runs a laptop farm. Multiple corporate computers lined up, powered on, all logged in, all running simultaneously. The actual North Korean worker sitting in China or Russia connects remotely. The company sees a U.S. IP address. Everything looks perfectly normal. Christina Chapman, an Arizona woman, ran one of the largest known farms. Over 300 U.S. companies were affected. She helped generate $17 million for North Korea. 300 companies. That's not a small side operation. That's industrial scale, running for years before anyone noticed anything was wrong. In June 2025 alone, the DOJ, in actions across 16 states, seized 29 laptop farms, 21 fraudulent websites, and approximately 200 computers in one coordinated sweep. Here's where it gets genuinely dangerous, because getting the paycheck is only the beginning of the risk to your company. When a developer gets hired, they get access. VPN credentials, GitHub repositories, AWS accounts, Slack channels, internal documentation, deployment pipelines, all of it. Think about what you give a new developer on day one. Code repos, system access, customer data. Now imagine that hire works for Pyongyang. Mandiant, one of the world's leading cybersecurity firms, has tracked these operations under the label UNC5267. What they found is genuinely alarming. Some workers simply did their jobs and collected salaries, but in other cases they used internal access to plant backdoors directly inside company systems. Once a backdoor is planted, even after the worker is fired, the access can remain. They can return later, they can extract data, they can watch. The DOJ found a case where a North Korean worker, embedded in a U.S. defense contractor, accessed and downloaded ITAR-Controlled military technology data. ITAR, International Traffic in Arms Regulations. That means weapon systems, export-controlled defense data, stolen by someone who was legally, officially on the payroll. This isn't hacking from outside. This is hacking from inside, with a company-issued laptop and a legitimate employee badge. Think about that. Then came the extortion. In late 2024, fired North Korean IT workers began threatening former employers. Pay us or we'll leak your source code publicly. Mandiant documented cases of terminated workers threatening to release proprietary data or hand it to competitors. Some demanded large cryptocurrency payments. One cybersecurity report summed it up. Past hackers tried to break down the front door. These hackers got a key made at HR. Let me zoom out for a moment, because alongside fake employees, North Korea wields another weapon. Cryptocurrency theft at a truly staggering scale. Chainalysis, a leading blockchain analytics firm, reported that in 2025, North Korean hackers stole at least $2.02 billion in cryptocurrency. A new record, $2 billion. Let that number sit for a moment. In 1 year. Stolen from exchanges, companies, and individuals. $2 billion. The single biggest event, the Bybit hack, February 2025. Nearly $1.5 billion stolen from one of the world's largest crypto exchanges in a single operation. The FBI confirmed North Korea's Trader Group was responsible. It's now officially the largest crypto heist in history, by a very wide margin. Here's how the Bybit heist worked. Trader hackers posed as job recruiters on LinkedIn, then contacted a developer at Safe Wallet, a custody service Bybit used. They sent what looked like a routine pre-employment coding test. He opened it. That was all it took. His device was fully compromised. A coding test. We've all seen those. A zip file, some instructions. Now imagine that file is actually a weapon aimed at your employer. From that one compromised device, hackers accessed Safe Wallet's AWS account. From there, they injected malicious JavaScript into the platform's front-end user interface. When Bybit's authorized signers approved what looked routine, they were handing cold wallet control to North Korean hackers. $1.5 billion. Gone in an instant. And it didn't stop there. DMM Bitcoin in Japan, $308 million. WazirX in India, $235 million. Radiant Capital, $50 million. The list goes on and on. These aren't random smash and grabs. They're patient, methodical, deeply sophisticated operations, planned and rehearsed months in advance, every step. TRM Labs called it the industrialization of cryptocurrency theft. A state-sponsored pipeline from social engineering to system compromise to laundering through Chinese underground networks. We've covered how they steal it. Now let's talk about where the money actually goes, because this is where the story gets truly heavy. North Korea doesn't steal crypto for fun. It's converted through a web of OTC brokers, mixers, blockchain bridges, and Chinese underground banking networks. You might wonder, can't authorities just freeze it? Track it? Sometimes, yes. But not always fast enough. The laundering moves at machine speed. Chainalysis documented a 45-day laundering cycle after major heists. Swap to ETH or BTC, mix it, bridge it across blockchains, route it through Chinese OTC desks. The final step is cash, usually Chinese yuan, deposited into DPRK-controlled bank accounts through China Union Pay cards registered in Chinese nationals' names. And this cash doesn't go to the workers. Remember, they often keep as little as 5 to 10%. The rest flows upward to the regime. Let me be direct about this. The U.S. government explicitly stated, this money funds North Korea's WMD and ballistic missile programs. That is the destination. Rockets, nuclear warheads, reconnaissance satellites, military drones. The salary that company paid a remote developer may have helped build the next weapons test. That's not a metaphor. It's documented by the State Department, the Treasury, the FBI, and an international multilateral sanctions monitoring team. Here's what keeps cybersecurity professionals up at night. Everything we just described, it's about to get harder to detect. Because of AI, raise your hand if you've used AI to polish a resume or prep for a job interview. Totally normal, right? Now imagine it at scale for fake identities. 50 fake resumes in a day. 100 fabricated LinkedIn profiles, all personalized, all convincing. All built by AI, targeting real job openings at real companies. OpenAI confirmed in 2025 they identified and banned ChatGPT accounts used by North Korean-linked operators to automate resume creation and answer job interview questions. Those accounts used automated looping scripts to generate resumes tailored to specific job descriptions, matching exact skills, tone, and keywords each employer was seeking. Microsoft documented North Korean workers using AI to enhance profile photos and experimenting with voice-changing software designed for use during live video interviews. Think about that. A real-time AI voice filter on a video call, changing how someone sounds. You'd be interviewing one person and hearing someone else entirely. Palo Alto researchers found scripts coaching workers on their remote status, their accent, and their background. AI polished and rehearsed to the last detail. The CrowdStrike 2025 report showed a 220% year-over-year increase in organizations infiltrated by this specific North Korean insider threat. AI is accelerating everything dramatically. So where does this leave us? What's the real takeaway from everything we just walked through today? The old image of a hacker was someone outside the walls, probing, testing, looking for a crack. That image is now completely out of date. Today's threat may already be inside, on the payroll, attending your all hands, filing expense reports, and quietly sending the earnings to Pyongyang. Sit with that for a second, not to scare you, but to make it real. This is happening right now, in companies just like yours. The FBI, DOJ, Treasury, and State Department all say, verify identities, require live video, confirm laptop addresses, monitor for VPN usage, treat HR as security. Because in this new era of cyber warfare, the first line of defense isn't the firewall. It's the hiring manager who asks one more question before clicking hire. That's a wrap for today. They're not just hacking your systems, they're applying for your jobs. Stay curious, stay sharp, and ask one more question.